Is the U.S. power grid ready for this Arctic blast? Weather update American cities #131. Right now, we are witnessing a weather anomaly that feels like a glitch in the Matrix. Believe it or not, it is actually colder in Jacksonville, Florida, than it is in Anchorage, Alaska. Just let that sink in for a moment. It is as if the jet stream was grabbed by both hands and snapped right in half. This broken atmospheric pattern is the reason why one half of the United States is shivering in sub-zero Tong, while the other half is basking in 70-degree sunshine. It is truly wild. We are currently tracking a massive 115-degree temperature spread across a single nation. This kind of extreme gradient is never quiet. It acts like a pressurized system waiting to explode, making the weather go absolutely chaotic. On top of that, the polar vortex is literally splitting apart in the stratosphere as we speak. This means the brutal cold currently crushing the eastern states is not just a passing phase. It is likely sticking around until at least March. But before we dive into the forecast for 80 different cities, we need to address something truly concerning. The power grid that failed in Nashville just 3 weeks ago, leaving thousands freezing in their homes, still has not been fully repaired. The same infrastructure that buckled across the southeast, contributing to over 150 deaths, is about to face another massive stress test. Nobody is talking about this, but the systems you rely on might not hold up this week. Let's look at the big picture to see why this is happening. Imagine a massive ridge of high pressure parked over the Great Plains. This is pumping temperatures into the 70s across Nebraska and Iowa, which is unheard of for early February. That ridge acts like a giant wall, forcing frigid Arctic air to pour down the eastern side of the country like water rushing down a drain. Both the European and GFS models are finally agreeing on this setup, which is a rare and very serious signal. Timing is everything this week, so let's break down the schedule. On Wednesday, an Alberta clipper is going to knife into the Midwest. This is a quick hitter, bringing maybe 1 to 2 inches of snow to Chicago and southern Wisconsin. It is just the opening act. Thursday is when winter stops being polite. A massive Arctic high will drop out of Canada, funneling dangerously cold air straight down the gut of the country. We are looking at wind chills potentially crashing to 60 below zero. At 60 below, exposed skin can develop frostbite in under 5 minutes. This is no exaggeration. It is a life-threatening situation. Friday is when the real chaos begins. That Arctic air is going to slam into moisture from the Gulf, creating a collision line from New Mexico all the way to Virginia. Because this system is slow-moving, the snow and ice totals are going to keep stacking up hour after hour. It is a recipe for a major weather event that will impact millions of commuters soon. Starting in the Northeast, the cold has been relentless. New York City has already seen 22 inches of snow this month, with lows dropping to 28. You might get a brief break with temperatures climbing into the low 40s by Wednesday, but don't get comfortable. A Valentine's Day system is already loading up. Boston is also buried under 22 inches, feeling like a walk-in freezer. Every time you think winter is over in New England, it just gets back up for another round. Philadelphia is dealing with 20 inches of snow, though mid-40s are possible by midweek. Pittsburgh has been absolutely crushed with 23 inches, thanks to a lake effect machine that seems to have a personal vendetta against the city. Syracuse and Albany are drowning under 22 and 15 inches respectively, with no signs of the snow quitting. Even Hartford and Providence are grinding through over a foot of snow each, with temperatures hovering around the freezing mark. Down in DC and Baltimore, you've seen about 10 inches. But remember that February is historically the snowiest month for the capital. The Climate Prediction Center suggests another 3 to 7 inches could fall before the month ends, so keep those shovels ready. Moving to the Midwest, the temperature roller coaster is about to get insane. Chicago could see a 30-degree swing in just 3 days. That kind of rapid whiplash is brutal on your roads, your home's pipes, and your health. Detroit is sitting at 8 inches with more flurries on the way, while Milwaukee is getting hammered by 12 inches of lake-effect snow. Interestingly, NOAA has flagged all of Michigan for being way above normal for February snowfall. Indianapolis, Columbus, and Cleveland are all in the same boat, riding a wave of winter misery with nearly 10 inches on the ground. Minneapolis currently holds the crown for the coldest major city, averaging 18 degrees with over a foot of snowpack. Kansas City and St. Louis are sitting on the knife's edge where rain flips to snow instantly, currently holding about 6 inches. Omaha is stuck with 8 inches and an Arctic air mass that has basically signed a long-term lease. Now we have to talk about the southeast because this region cannot afford another hit. The January storms were historic and deadly, and the grid remains vulnerable. Charlotte is still cleaning up from 11 inches of snow, and Atlanta is watching the western air. Nashville is dealing with a messy mix of 6 inches of snow and 5 inches of rain, with ice damage still visible. Raleigh is also on high alert for a Friday system that could clip the Carolinas. Weather experts were buzzing overnight because the European model showed a stripe of moderate snow stretching into the southern Appalachians. While some models have dialed back the totals this morning, the energy is still there. If the cold air holds, Friday could turn very interesting very fast. Memphis and Louisville are directly in the path of any new systems spinning up. Oklahoma City is sitting on a whopping 12 inches of snow, and it seems winter has a personal grudge there as more cold is coming. Cincinnati and Tulsa are also in that transition zone where conditions can flip without warning. Moving to the southern plains, Dallas and Fort Worth are enjoying the 50s right now, but a reality check is coming. You could crash to below freezing in less than 48 hours. Houston, Austin, and San Antonio are also enjoying the calm before the storm. However, Texas weather is famous for flipping like a light switch, and freezing rain is a real possibility for the northern suburbs soon. Meanwhile, El Paso and Albuquerque are living on a different planet, staying mostly mild and dry. But the West Coast is finally about to remember what winter feels like. After weeks of rainy purgatory, a major pattern shift is incoming that will change everything for the coast. Starting around February 5th-10th, storm after storm will slam the West Coast. This is the moisture California and the Pacific Northwest have been waiting for. The Sierra Nevada could see a staggering 7 to 10 feet of snow in the high elevations. This is crucial because snowpack has been lagging at only 50 to 70% of normal. Colorado is currently tracking toward its worst snowpack on record, but these incoming Pacific storms might finally help the region claw back to normal. Salt Lake City has been robbed of winter so far, but big opportunities for storms are finally appearing. While the East suffers, Los Angeles and San Francisco will stay in the 50s and 60s with much-needed rain. Places like Sacramento and San Jose are finally getting the moisture required to fight drought conditions. Even Phoenix and Las Vegas are enjoying spring-like weather while the rest of us question our life choices. But Florida, don't get too smug while watching everyone freeze. Miami and Orlando are vibing in the 60s and 70s, but a vortex collapse could push freezing Tong much deeper south than usual. We already saw freeze warnings near Fort Myers once this year, so keep your guards up. Regarding the Valentine's Day system, the GFS model is being very aggressive. It shows a wintry low developing in the southern plains and tracking toward the Ohio Valley. This could mean a mess of snow, ice, and rain depending on which side of the track you are living on. The big question for the weekend is the tug of war between cold air and moisture. Friday has the cold but less moisture, while the weekend has the moisture but weaker cold support. We are also watching Virginia Beach and Colorado Springs for coastal and mountain impacts. In the southwest, Tucson and Mesa will remain the envy of the nation with sunny skies. However, for everyone else, this is a time for serious preparation. We cannot ignore the safety risks associated with this deep freeze. If you are in the path of this extreme cold, cover every inch of skin. Check on your elderly neighbors and anyone living alone today. A simple phone call could save a life. Keep your devices charged and know where the nearest warming center is. If you use a generator, it must stay outside away from windows. Carbon monoxide is a silent killer. Bring your pets inside immediately. If it is too cold for you to stand outside for 10 minutes, it is definitely too cold for your furry friends. Remember, over 150 families lost loved ones last month. Some died alone because no one checked on them. As these 4 major weather events unfold from the Arctic blast to the West Coast shift, please look out for each other. Storms eventually pass and the ice will melt, but the connections we protect are what really matter when the world gets cold. Stay warm, stay safe, and keep a close eye on the horizon. We will get through this together by staying prepared and kind.